welcome Dr. Shekhar.
Yeah.
This is Global Digest, global think tank and worldwide issue, and especially Asia-Pacific region. You may know current military coup in Burma. There is a strong confrontation between, leftist ideology and rightist ideology. The military, socialist, leftist, and authoritarian in the one side, and the democratic group in the other.
Democratic.
Yes. So in this region, India is very crucial country as the largest democracy country in the world, and also largest democracy country in Asia, and one of largest neighbor country for Burma. So the military issue is very important, as Dr. Shekhar was a former Indian military expert, and you can share us more about your military strategy, how India role for how this geopolitic Indian military is maintaining, and how it can affect Burmese military
your country.
Yes, how it could affect current military coup, and how it can be the way for paving democratization in Burma. So can you explain about a little bit Indian position? Especially military position on this geopolitics and effect on Burmese military coup, please.
Yeah. First of all, you asked me about India position. So far India is concerned, when India is placed in such a comfortable position in South Asia, in this particular region, that can have a direct influence not only in Indo-Pacific or Southeast Asia or East Asia, but also on the Western world.
Right.
Today, you will see the foreign policy or the diplomacy which we have, or which we have developed right from 2014 when Prime Minister Modi came into power. There has been massive change in India's attitude towards world affairs.
I see.
You have seen that so far, in terms of geopolitics, India's position is very good, strong, and here, in case of India, you will see why coup does not occur in India.
Yes.
The reason is that we are a democratic country, and that in that democratic country like India, we have decentralization of power, first of all, and also decentralization of the military power. The military power is not concentrated in one hand.
I see.
We have many commands. So there's no chance of having this kind of military coup, which we generally see in your country or even in Pakistan.
So,
for example,
military decentralization means there is no chief of command in India. I mean, the chief of command, and how it was decentralized by state-wise or by which region-wise? How because it should be joint command center, military, navy, air force, armed force, all should be joint command center for any country. So how come this integrated in Indian Army? Please little bit explain more.
So far, we have seen diversification of power, military power, that is inducted in our constitution. Our constitution says, just like in your constitution, how the military power became important. They became important because of the influence of the military. So much powerful was the military rulers or the elite class that they overthrew the civilian this thing. I mean, here that was not the case. Right from the constitution, I mean, it is mentioned in our constitution that we have this thing, and in due course, we have, earlier we had 4 divisions, and now we have concentrated on 6 divisions. And
I see.
Best part is on part of India is that we decentralization, we don't mix army, navy, and air force. They have different command. They come under war ministry. We have a war ministry, defense minister, who is overall in charge. The framing of laws that is done by the civilians, not by the military. The military task, the military is subordinate to the civilian, to the defense ministry. So if you see the structure, the defense organization structure of India, it is something like a decentralization power from top to bottom. It flows, getting command from top to bottom. In that way, the president is the apex body. Then comes the defense minister, and then comes the armed forces. And the armed forces will work only when they get the permission from the either prime minister or from the president. For example, I give you the example of Galwan. This what happened in when we had a clash, Galwan Valley clash with China in 2020. So it was Prime Minister our Modi gave full hand to the military to tackle the border dispute with China's. And that is why one reason why China did not proceed further, because they knew that if you have placed 5 lakh soldiers there, we too have placed 5 lakh soldiers there. And in a conventional war, generally what happens that the ratio should be 3:1. If 1 is the enemy, then you should have 3. Then you are in a superior position. That is there when a war takes place. But when we talk of a coup, before coup, military coup, I should also tell you something about the difference between a revolution and a coup. Revolution is something, it is a people representation. People represent against the oppressive rule of the state, of the government. And in the meantime, when the people moves, then the leaders appears. In the case of coup, the platform is already there. It is for the military rulers to overthrow the civilian government, whatever the government may be. So that is a difference between, generally the people are confused when they generally talk of this rebellion, revolt, revolution, or coup as a synonymous term. So one should be clear in our perspective.
Burmese case is right now what we are doing is the people are doing a revolution. They against military coup, because military took power by force, as you said, and people are against the military. That is a people revolution, right? And as you said, you are in India as military decentralization. It means in India doesn't have a permanent chief of command to the all division, right? Only when necessary the defense minister can appoint one commander to be chief of joint commander for all the troops, right? But at the moment, there is no permanent joint chief commander. So in India case, any military commander among the 6 divisions, nobody can take coup, because each division has separate, so six commander cannot be together one time to coup, never, because they are each equal positions and there is no higher than them. So only the option is they have to wait defense minister and prime minister command. So that is very much, a good strategy, a good, management in India military. That never happened military in India. But Burmese
in India never happened.
Totally different. Burmese has, very much a chief of commander, very powerful chief of commander, and it has also vice chief of commander. So this top chief of commander is absolute power. They can change all the division commander and regional commander by their power. And the constitution, that floor constitution of Burma guarantee the military chief to do certain power, and they provide 25% of military seat in the parliament without election. So this kind of provision in Burmese legal system, constitution, is very vulnerable for military coup. That's what happened in Burma, and military ultimately coup in Burma against the democracy. That is very successful. Yes. So we know India military is very good. And how about India current strategy in this region? How Indian strategy
I'm talking
Navy and the regional, those against those communist socialist influence, leftists they are very strong, they are they have nuclear power and they have economic power. China is top economic power. So Asian countries are very vulnerable to collapse democracy because of strong this in our next door. So how India prepared to that kind of influence? We are now in crisis we are facing in the region. So the military has any strategy? You have any special?
Yeah. India maintained a very cordial relation since when both the country got independence.
Right.
India got independence in 47. Burma got independence in 48. And right from that day, you will see that from Indian perspective, Burma is important for economic and strategic point of view. Because if you see the borders of Northeast India, India, Northeast borders, states, they share a vast land with your country.
Yes.
For example, you will see that 4 of Indian political sensitive areas, Northeast states, for example, Arunachal Pradesh shares with Burma some 520 kilometer its border with Burma. Then Nagaland 215 kilometer, Manipur 398 kilometer, Mizoram 510 kilometer. They share, and what we call it this border as international border. So when you have this kind of border, and when you have China as a powerful nation above your before
all of us
in the north, both of us in the north, then it is something difficult that how you maintain and how to tackle that problem. But in the main course, you will see that Burma has been prominently you have seen a military rule. No civilian government, they have completed their 5-year term. They have been overthrown, or they have a military coup has been staged by the military rulers or the military commanders or the army commanders. It was only in 2010 there was a shift, political shift, you can say, when keeping in view the 2008, I think, constitution, Burmese constitution, when there was a change. But then too, the army commanders, they had their own influence. They included, they wanted more power, and they, they included certain clauses in that constitution in which the military rulers became more and more this thing. And one thing more, that it was clear that for the civilian, what they did, that the civilian will be president only in your country. He should be a national. If he is a foreigner, if his wife is a foreigner, if parents, sons are foreigners, then he cannot be the president there. That was the case of Aung San Suu Kyi.
Yes. By the way,
she did not
in India,
president.
In India, about in 2000, there was India president. His wife was Burmese, right?
Yeah.
But India doesn't mind the president wife is foreigner or not, you know?
No. You can have the citizenship. For example, we have Rahul Gandhi. I mean, there's a concept of double citizenship. You should have a citizenship of here also, and of your country, and the citizenship where you have availed. If you want, you have a UK citizenship or the US citizenship or any European country citizenship, but you should be a citizen of your country also.
Yes.
I mean, if you, for example, Rahul Gandhi, if he wants, if his party wants the election here, I mean, not today, tomorrow, then he can be president. I mean, he enjoys the dual citizenship.
Why?
So dual citizenship is permitted. Yeah.
Why not
Sonia
Gandhi?
Is not permitted. Sonia Gandhi was not permitted because
she's Indian. She's Indian citizen.
No, that is a question. Good question you have put, because male, they can be the president or the prime minister, but not the president. I can say prime minister is more powerful in India. They can, but the woman, if he is foreigner, because his spouse, I mean, having both this thing, there's a clause in our constitution that you cannot be the president. Either you cannot, first spouse, you have to, only you have to be a citizen of one country, of your country where you are residing, only of that country. But in case of your son can be, if he's having double citizenship, he can be either prime minister, particularly prime minister. We have a parliamentary form of government where the prime minister is there, not presidential form of government, unlike your this country where you have a presidential. The president is the main force so far the civilian government is concerned. Here, in that case, I'm talking of that these geopolitics of South Asia and Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Why Myanmar is important for us? Because it is a landmass that connects South Asia to Southeast Asia.
Correct.
And Myanmar is one country that is important both for China and India, because it will connect this thing, and that is why both are interested.
Yes.
And another important, from strategic point of view, you have Coco Island.
Yes, we have also, the sea border between India and Burma, and that is
only 30 kilometers.
Yes, I mean, we have very long coastal, and India, Adama Islands also very close to Burmese coastal. So it is a very, Adama Islands is very close to the ASEAN, mainly Burma, and also with Thailand and Malaysia, even Indonesia archipelago.
Indonesia, Malaysia, Australia, even further.
in terms of a sea border, India is definitely connected to the ASEAN region. So, and it's a very important Navy issue, especially right now. I'm not sure how much Indian commitment on the Quad, Quad strategy, because
I'll tell you.
other
I will-
Australia, Japan, America are very
India and India.
strong liberal democracy, and they are very close aligned. But India is a little bit lukewarm, not much strong aligned with them. But they are neither left wing or communist. They are still strong democracy, but they are not strong ally. So how India can play the role
I will.
in the
I will answer.
Quad
I will
and
answer.
also for ASEAN, sea
Region.
marine security in India Ocean and this Pacific Ocean. So how India want to play the role.
I will answer first. Let's take the Indian Ocean.
Yes.
Indian Ocean is very important for Myanmar, for India, because of that too, Coco Island and Andaman. And the difference between the Coco and Andaman is only 30 kilometers.
Very
And
close.
the presence of China there in your country, if they have something like a equation with your government to have their base in Coco Island, then it will pose a serious challenge.
That is done by military government. Burmese civilian government never allowed Chinese to come into the Burmese island, but the military did it. But Indian also some kind of influence on Burmese Navy. You provided one submarine, and you have a lot of Navy cooperation between the two countries. So how India can tell Burmese Navy you should not do such thing in Indian Ocean? Why let the Chinese ship in Burma? That is a military side, the Burmese military side. They did.
I will answer your question.
Yes.
After the coup, if you take the American position, right in 2012 when Obama visited a country, there was an improvement when you had a democratic setup and the American visit to that country, the relation improved. And simultaneously, India also sent their delegation to Burma. So there was an improvement. There's a triangular, this thing was situation developed. Good rapprochement, political military rapprochement, you can say. After this coup of 2021,
yes,
the Chinese threat, and when the China blocked the United Nations General Assembly sanction against the military ruler, that was done by China. When the sanction was put against the military, even in the United Nations, the Chinese put this and favored the military ruler. I think that Chinese wanted to have a military ruler there, want a military dictatorship there, because China itself a dictator country. And so far, the strategic importance of Indian Ocean is concerned, you will see that we have joint naval drill, joint naval, this type of joint naval with France, Britain, UK in the Indian Ocean region that is there. So Burmans will not have to worry they will not have to worry because of the American presence, of the Indian presence, and India will not like to have the Chinese presence in your country, because if once that will happen, that it will pose a serious threat to our northeast states. This is first starting important point of view when we talk of this Indian position, why we want to have a cordial relation with Burmese, keeping the Chinese factor. You talk of Quad. So far Quad is concerned, we have a very good relation with Japan. We have a very good relation economic now with Australia.
Right.
Every day you see that, and during the COVID period, that even in the COVID period, I think in 21 Jan, some lakhs of this COVID shield was sent to your country by the Indian government. So on humanitarian ground, we helped your country, but that was not the case with the Chinese. So what Quad country is concerned, I mean, now the American realize that Soviet Union is no longer a competitor, though they are fighting in Ukraine there, but they are not directly involved. If they are directly involved, then it is sure that nuclear war will happen. That both the countries, they are being regulated by what hotline communication of 1963, that whenever there is any event occurs leading to violence or the eruption of violence in any state, they will inform each other, but they were not directly involved themselves. That is why American is helping, or the NATO is helping Ukraine, and not directly involving themselves with the Soviet. If they do, then the Soviet will use the nuclear weapons, although the Soviet have an upper edge over them. But here in that case, when we talk Quad, that was the idea earlier, but it was given a definite shape by Donald Trump. He wanted India. He was a very good friend of India. He visited India twice or thrice. So, and he wanted India to be there because of growing India's military or economic, as a growing economic. And you will see that by 2030, India will be number 3 as a global economic power. So, and as a military power also, and now India also started delivering the arms developed by our country to Philippines or Vietnam, in those countries, in order to check the Chinese influence in Indo-Pacific. Quad, why Quad is made? Quad is made just to check so that the Chinese does not punish Taiwan. They does not capture Taiwan. So that is the main problem with the Americans.
So you mean if Chinese attack on Taiwan, India were ready to defend Taiwan?
Support. Yeah. Because we are member of this thing, and we will assist. You will see that in the meantime, you have seen that they have already deployed the Americans and UK. They have deployed their nuclear, their submarines there. If you see the international scenario, why this Ukraine war happened? Because the Ukraine war happened because when they got the Russian President Putin got an affirmative answer from the Chinese that they will keep quiet and veto whatever the Americans or the NATO do. So here the position, the equation has changed. Now American is in isolation position. I mean, is an isolated power. And here you see India as a rising military economic power. So, but natural. And if you see the history of American, you being, I think, supporter of America. So, but now it is the Americans, this thing that their interest their national interest lies to have a good relation with India.
Right.
Because of whatever development, anything will happen, that will happen in the Indo-Pacific region. Indo-Pacific region is also important for natural resources. They want to explore
Right.
those natural resources which have not been explored by any nations for many years. Asia, West Asia has been famous for oil, this thing. Once that finishes, then we have to move to Indian Ocean, Indo-Pacific region.
But
So
by the way,
tussle,
Quad doesn't have formal, agreement on the defense issue. Like as you said, India
yeah,
will defend Taiwan and most Indian Ocean and Asia Pacific region. But there is no formal agreement, right?
there has been a formal agreement. The board
What
has already
kind
there.
of formal agreement they have done so far? Do you know?
I mean, you see that many meetings have occurred. I mean, once you have a formal this thing, sort of a quad, then you meet and discuss things, strategic, economic, and here what is important that
I mean,
even
formal agreement means defending Taiwan.
defending Taiwan, not only Taiwan, the issue of South China Sea, the issue of Burma, the issue of Vietnam, the issue of Philippines, the issue of Thailand. So all these,
It's mean
Japan.
Indirect
Right.
agreement, right? Indirect
Yeah,
agreement.
yeah. And once you are a member, you have to support this thing. Maybe giving economic or military assistance to the Taiwanese people, to the government, or though everything will be done because America has a powerful this thing. If China uses their intercontinental ballistic missiles or short-range ballistic missiles, the American missiles, they are far more destructive. In terms of numbers, the numbers are large, in 4,000 something, and the Chinese, they have 300 something intercontinental ballistic missiles. So they are more far ahead. So there's a direct confrontation between Russia and America, or rivalry in terms of so far nuclear weapons or your missiles are concerned. Whether you talk of submarine, and so far submarines are concerned, the Americans are in a superior position. They have an upper hold there. And even in air-launched ballistic missiles, they have the Americans, they are far more ahead. And if you compare both the Chinese and American weapons, the American weapons are far more. The Chinese weapons are not tested. And you have seen that in 1979, the Chinese got beating from the Vietnamese when they entered the Vietnamese territories. And from then, they have not fought any war. So that is the position. Right. And conscriptive army. They have a conscriptive army. For a certain period, you have to be in the army for a certain age. And when you have a conscriptive army, there's too much relaxation as compared to a well-trained army, loyal army. So that is a difference. Once we saw the experience in the Galwan Valley, the father was crying that their only son is going to war. What will happen if that son is dead or killed? So what will happen to them? Because in China, you will see that decrease in population. Now they have changed the policy, two-child policy. Earlier it was a one-child policy because of booming this population. Now that generation, they have become older. They cannot have another son or this thing. So that is now they are believing this kind of policy. So that is the Chinese strategy.
By the way, if China and Quad has conflict, it can be, Russia might be involved because Russia have fleet in the East Sea to the, near, eastern Russia, there was the fleet. So it's very close to the South China Sea, and it's in Pacific Ocean, and it can come to Indian Ocean. I mean, in terms of the number, submarine and attack ship, China has outnumber and North Korea has outnumber in terms of number. So this number, we can easily prevent. And the other thing is India wants, China military dock into Sri Lanka port next to the Indian door.
Yeah.
And Burmese military allow sometimes Chinese Navy come to the Coco Island. So how India can deterrent? Why India did not told Sri Lanka government not to allow, or did not told to Burmese military why it should not accept as Indian influence area, why they let them in. And if once they come, last time, once the Chinese came to Sri Lanka and Burma, India could not do anything. And do you think if any Indian want to prevent those things, Chinese approaching, crouching into the Indian Ocean, you can invite the Quad member to join with India to prevent China crouching in the Indian Ocean?
Yeah, I will answer your question. Very good question. First of all, you talk of Russia. India has a very good relation with Russia. And one cannot forget that in time of crisis, it was Russia that supported India and not China. China and Russia, they had differences in Vladivostok port. China claimed that Vladivostok port is their area, is their territory. And once that was when they claimed in 21, then there was a sharp difference, political differences arose between the Chinese and your Russian government. And on that basis, they soon delivered, Russian delivered S-400 missile to India, which could have taken much more time. So we are getting that missiles or kind of weapons just to deter, just to promote Indian interests. Russia also will help China to a certain extent. That country will not directly involve itself with America in the Indian Ocean or Indo-Pacific region. As I've said, if they involve themselves, then there will be a nuclear war, which means total destruction or the end of civilization. So nobody wants this thing. No nation wants to destroy themselves. I will give you an example that when during the Second World War, Germany was defeated in the summer of 1944. And they should have dropped the bomb Germany and the war would have been ended. Why they waited for another year? Because Japan was still active, and they wanted not to drop bomb on white race, but on the yellow race. So they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And once, what was the consequences? You see the international repercussion, or what you see even today, the condition of Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the population there, and whatever you see there, are they fit even today? No. So that was a small bomb. And now, in terms of destructive power, they cover a large area.
Right.
The damage is the density of damage is very high. So here, when we talk of, this is the first point, you mentioned Russia, this thing, Russia will, though at the moment, because every country is determined, what is important for any country is its national interest. The interest today is, are in the same, are same with, Russian and the Chinese interests are same, just to contain the American or the NATO presence there.
I mean,
So,
nowadays they are more division in terms of ideology. You know, once India, democratic country are united, America, Australia, Japan, India, all democracy, if they are united in one side, Russia might be joined with the left wing, China, North Korea. So it will be game changer. So, I mean, it is, we want not to happen conflict, but it could be such kind of game changer strategy. So because India vis and vis with Russia, so India also crucial to play Russia not involved with the China in the South China or Indian Ocean or Pacific Ocean conflict. So it will be critical for India to play, because that's why it may be good or bad, India not fully committed or fully jump into the alliance with the US, Japan, Australia. I'm not sure, but I think if you jump into the alliance, it will be much stronger for democratic side, I guess.
India, there are two aspects of your question. India now India's position in international relation or international politics is such that India is now playing a very dynamic role, acting as a balancer between the American and the Russians. And both countries know that. If you see what happened in Ukraine, in a war, can humanitarian corridor happens anywhere in war. This was the Indian, what they told the Indian Prime Minister, convinced the Putin to have let the Indians go, leave that country. And there were some 27,000 people there in Ukraine, and only one was killed because he was medically unfit because of heart attack. That was said. He was not killed because of his own this thing. And humanitarian corridor was opened by the Russians, allowing India to go by this pass that will take you to that country, Poland, and other neighboring countries of Russia. So that was there. And on that pretext, Pakistan and Turkey, using Indian flag, they also saved their national in Ukraine. So this is the position of India. So India is not generally people say that India is not powerful. India is a powerful player in international forum, international politics, and you can see what is happening between Sino-Indian relation, India and China relation, and why the war did not happen with India and China. It was the reason with that India's now adopted a very aggressive posture. Earlier, we lived in defensive offensive warfare. We used to defend ourselves. Now we are becoming more aggressive, and that is why we have joined Quad. That is the reason, because our aggressiveness, because in order to protect the Indian Ocean region, because to protect our interests from the Chinese, which can have their area or influence in your country, in Sri Lanka. What is happening in Sri Lanka? It is India that is supporting Sri Lanka. Only country, the first country that approached Sri Lanka, that supported Sri Lanka from that kind of tragedy that occurred, economic collapse, or this thing, economic collapse of this thing, because of the so much heavily investment of Chinese. That is done because everything is based on government to government. It is not left to the people. If the government, and that government was Lankan government, did not have a cordial relation with India. They were more tilted toward China. So they allowed Chinese, they took Chinese, this thing. And in case of China, you will see that in many countries, in Nepal, in Burma, in this thing, but not in Southeast Asia, you will see that they are independent. They are under the influence of the Americans.
India government officially not protest to Sri Lanka government not to allow Chinese ship.
Yeah. When India is such a position, we have Strait of Malacca, where the Chinese ship can pass. If we block that strait, if we get support from Burma, Coco Island and this thing, if we block that island, then China will be in a very difficult position. Then they will not be able to move towards the African countries, to other Western Asian countries. Therefore, they have what they have done, that through Pakistan occupied Kashmir and through Pakistan, Balochistan, they have made another route, Gwadar port. They want to have the Gwadar port, which they are facing. A lot of problem has arisen there also because of the local population, resistance from the local population. They don't want the Chinese presence there.
I see.
I mean, the condition is that, what the Chinese do, what the Britishers they have done, they wanted colony. They would make you you are colonizer of that country, you are colonizer, you are colony of that country, and basically political, yours, you are independent, but economically you are totally dependent, and you are so much, economic burden is so much on you that you cannot deny them then. So now what Sri Lanka is trying to drift away from that position
right now.
And that is why, India's interests lie that India, Sri Lanka should be an independent country, should have an Indian approach to this region, and more friendly towards India and not to China. And that will only happen when India's will come at this stage to help economic, in terms of economic and military, this thing, help India. And maybe that the ports, maybe in future, India may have that kind of base in those ports also.
So what about Indian Army and ASEAN Army? How much they are cooperating?
Yeah, as I've said,
Navy,
ASEAN countries, navies. ASEAN countries, you will see that ASEAN basically is economic cooperation. They are economically very powerful. That was established in 67 or 68, I think 67, just to have the American influence in ASEAN region to prevent the Chinese, to contain the China presence in that region. So India's interest, what India's interest is, we have seen from 1990s, India policy was look east. Now what we have changed from look east, act east. What you want to do, act east. If there's a military, this thing, indulge in military activities. If there's an economic competition, you have military competition there. We have a good relation with ASEAN countries. Maybe China, and China's influence is diminishing there in ASEAN country because of the Quad. Because ASEAN country, they are also know the Chinese position. So already the American presence, Australian position there, presence there, and India is making their hold in ASEAN region, and they have succeeded to a great extent there. And that also because once we have become the Quad member, and I think that Quad will also protect the ASEAN country, your country, and Taiwan, basically, which is meant today for Taiwan. Maybe tomorrow could be another country, XYZ country. So that will there.
So one thing is when Sino-India conflict at the border, the India requests Quad member to discuss that issue, or never call to the Quad member. Why not?
We are self-sufficient. We are self-sufficient.
Many
self-reliant.
Indian soldiers are injured and dead. You know, it is. I mean, it's unfortunate. So India should please discuss the matter with Quad member. That will be benefit for India.
No. Why should we discuss? Quad is not meant for Sino-Indian this thing relation. Quad is only meant for Indo-Pacific region, not for Sino-Indian relation. So we are better. We can deal with the Chinese. We know how to deal with the Chinese because we know the weaknesses of Chinese. We have a good relation with America. We had good relation with Russia. So. And already we have good relation with the Quad members. We have good relation with Japan, Vietnam, and except North Korea. Though we don't indulge in North Korea with North Korea, so we don't know about North Korea. And North Korea has adopted a neutral position so far. Sino-Indian relations are concerned. So we don't have to worry with these countries. It is a bilateral issue, and we will discuss. And if there is any armed struggle between these countries, we are in a position to give a befitting reply to the Chinese this time. And because of that, our preparation, the Chinese, they are on the defensive now.
By the way, as you said, India is strong, powerful, and strong military, and it will be stronger in the future. So I want India to show some more muscle, not just vocally. Why not Indians show some muscle, especially supporting Burmese democratic movement and Burmese democratic armed forces at the border? I was very sad. Even Indian government doesn't allow refugee officially in India as big as democracy. Why do you don't think
I will.
India should show some muscle? Like now, democratic fighter, they need at least weapon, something like that. India has
I will answer your question.
Many ways you can support either material or by financial or by logistically, or also humanitarian issue. You can do that. I mean, India is the biggest democracy country. Why not support the other neighbor country?
No. India is supporting. I mean, you are not aware of the position. India has supported.
I mean, the Mizoram state is doing humanitarian supporting,
and
central government officially not allow refugee.
Listen, and if refugee, why we are not allowing refugee? Because earlier when the military rule was there, many insurgent camps were there in your country. They used to come from Myanmar and they would strike our northeast region. Now that region is peaceful. Earlier, it was a very volatile region full of violence, not only Burmese, but also from Bangladesh. So, insurgent, when you talk of insurgency,
maybe case by case.
If you have if you have an outside support in the form of any group supporting this thing. So if in that case, that will it suit you, your country? No, we will defend our border. I mean, all these insurgents, they were supported by the Chinese. They were communist in nature. They were not democratic people.
By the way, you
And
have
once you
that's why case by case you have to distinguish, you know, even among Burmese insurgent, Burmese ethnic group, there are leftist ideology and
you are right.
right-wing ideology. You know, those are left-wing ideology who support socialism and communism. They will be backed by China, and it can attack India, like in Nagaland and Manipur. Some those they are left-wing ideology. I I I I found them, but if you see the other case who are not left-wing, who are right-wing, purely democratic movement, like in the Mizoram border and those things, they are not left-wing. So they never attack. I never heard they attack in Mizoram. That's like nothing, you know, Burmese ethnic arms group never attack. Maybe those, you know, Nagaland, Manipur border, there was a left-wing idea. So you have to analyze, distinguish case by case. So I want India support democratic right-wing group. You don't need to support, of course, you don't need to support that left-wing communist or socialist.
No, I'm not supporting that. I'm not left.
Even we don't support, you know. We also don't support.
I'm a Democrat. I believe in democratic principle procedure. I believe in democracy. So I want democracy to be there. We, Indian government, also want democracy there. That suits our interest. Why we are not allowing this thing? Because of the Rohingyas, because of the Muslim population. That is the threat, not only to your country, but to the entire fraternity. Even the Chinese, they are afraid of the Muslims. Rohingyas, I mean, you have seen that Rohingyas, why if we permit, I mean, many thousands of Rohingyas are in India. We don't know. They have got in West Bengal, I mean, they have their identity card, voter card. And if you have that kind of population, what will happen? We will be in a minority. That is one reason why we check. For example, when some 48 civilians entered Indian border, so we told our Assam rifle not to allow further. And the military ruler wanted extradition of those 48 people, which we did not allow. We wanted to be on the basis of legal this thing. So this is the issue, basic issue of your country, the rivalry between the democratic process or the democratic rule and the military dictatorship.
Yes.
And where democracy is not able to perform in that better manner as we are performing. We don't have any this thing. But when you talk of this thing that we are not allowing refugees, but if on humanitarian ground, if the massacre has not occurred, I mean, only certain thousands of people, I mean, they have killed in 21, or I think in 21, 4,000 or something like that people. Pope has been murdered, they were killed. So if the civilians which are residing in the border side of your country, if they move to our country, then India will do something on humanitarian ground. And even the United Nations will come to their rescue. And on economically, they will not give any help to the military ruler. But if the democratic, if there's a democracy there, we invested heavily in your country.
Right.
And we have invested We are waiting for that opportunity to come. And once the democracy, they says that the military says that within 6 months there will be a fresh election.
It is too early to say. Everything is uncertainty right now. Is anarchy in Burma. So I understand Indian position, Indian concern about security. But my point is, as a democratic country, you can check case by case, as I told you, as at least Mizoram state, at the border of Mizoram state is example, it is secure for supporting democratic group from Burma. You can at least show some muscle, or some humanitarian, at least to the democratic group. I'm not absolutely, I agree with you. I don't support either leftist ideology. I'm right wing liberal democracy. Now I'm discussing with different scholars from around the world about liberal society in Asia, so I'm definitely right wing. So India can do something to the democratic group. At least, as I told you, you can check case by case, and at least you can show some muscle. And weapon is not possible at all for democratic fighter.
We can send weapons to Burma. The Indian government, when that we have a very good relation with that lady Aung San Suu Kyi. Yeah, we have a very good relation with that lady. And if she demands, then through illegal way, we can also help them militarily, economically. We are there to support your country. So militarily, we can also.
You want to say Aung San Suu Kyi did not request military assistance? No, I think she might not a chance to speak out. Maybe she indirectly requested to the Indian government to support military.
But through other forum or through other medium, she could have approached. I mean, she must have approached our government. And India is waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the right time, to indulge itself in your country. You have to wait for a proper. The timing should be a proper.
Yes.
They succeeded because that suits them. The time factor is very important in war or a change in government. We are waiting for the time factor, not only in your country, but also in Sri Lanka, in Nepal, having the same problem there because of China. We are waiting for the proper time.
By the way, Suu Kyi case is, she is in the K, So if she speak out, or if she requests India government for weapon, she might be killed.
We are giving, selling our weapons to Vietnam, Philippines, and some of the Asian countries. So India is now in a position to give that country. Once everything is settled, unless stability prevails, how India can help in that stability by focusing through various forums, showing that is happening in your country. This thing is happening in your country. Then only we can see a change in your country and the return of democracy in your country, where once we will see the civilian government coming to power. It is not that the Americans, Indian, Australia, UK, they are not doing anything. They are focused on that area, on your area. Biden, even in January, when the military, this thing coming to power, he sanctioned, cautioned the military that they will have more military economic sanction. They put more economic military sanction on your country. That is one way of curtailing this thing. Here, sanction is important. If you block everything to the military, if they don't get anything from the foreign countries, then the people will have to rise.
The thing is, sanction is, because of China, it will not work. So that is problem. We want to see one day India show their muscle and peaceful in the region and democratic leadership. Thank you very much, Dr. Shekhar.